Well, hello again. So, yeah, I don't think I'll make a podcast because I just, don't want to. I don't want to eat up people's time and plug them into the Matrix and shit. Like, it would be cool if Candace Owens, Jimmy Dore, Sabby Sabs, and all them, could just take like a day off and like remind your followers to go and walk out in nature somewhere and touch grass or rock or dirt or some plants. Even touching a tree is nice. So instead of getting all caught up, no getting replacements like Misty, like Comrade Misty. Yeah, just take the day off. Just fuck it. Have a thing for your stream that says, why don't you turn your electronic shit off and get outside and fucking touch Earth for a bit. I think it's really much needed. So yeah, you know, my thing about the Freemasons, actually, they were very nice and everything, up until like all the betrayal and everything, which was, it seemed like really Zionist-y too, because my father died in Zion, and that was like some cancer treatment centers of America bullshit that we should not have done, but we did because we didn't know any better at the time. And so anyway, he sadly passed away, and they like rubbed it in his face. These two wide-eyed motherfuckers, some Zionists, of course, or people brainwashed by Zionists. You know. So yeah, I was thinking, you know, so they have you all scripted out, even in the cults and everything. They're like, look, just you're gonna do this, meow meow, meow meow. I know. I let the door open for my kitty cat last night and just let her roam around and shit. And now she wants to do it again. Don't ya? She's like, yeah, let me do it again. Okay, maybe a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, it's just like if you keep following the scripts, you're just going to do it to your demise. They have ways of crashing meteors, or they had ways, and then it got destroyed, and then they are now regaining the ability to do that. And so it's not wise. They always use it for evil. They always use that shit for evil, even though they're not like publicly stating it. So I hope that mission fails. Whatever mission fucking, you go and grab a fucking meteor. I hope that is like the most failed mission ever. It'd be nice. So yeah. You think the FBI or CIA, when they're doing all their like black magic shit, they all got like captured by demons and shit. So now they're having a hard time getting out of it. But they're all like captured and shit. You know. Yeah, and then yeah, that gets really fucked up. Like with I feel like I'm Edward Scissorhands. And a decent analogy, I guess, is the salon scene where Ambrosia is trying to seduce Edward Scissorhands, and he doesn't know what the fuck to do. And she's like, "Come on, just like be sexual," And that's like the community, but it's like been throughout my whole life, and on top of the roofie molesting me into my adulthood, where you call it rape and shit, roofing raping me, and then they could trick other people, and it's like a form of psychological warfare. But the reason why they do it is because I actually am on the high ranking. I outrank the 13 and shit, so they would put him through the grinder like everyone else, of course, right, and yeah, like Rufy possess him and everything, and try to steer him in our direction and blah blah blah, so you can hijack the messenger, and that's and so yeah, they even do it with a female too. So I need to watch out for the pretty faces, because they have that out there a lot, where they will hook someone up with a pretty face to just steer them in a certain direction. No. Got the zoomies. Yes, you do. zoom here, zoom there. Yes, I let you out in a little bit. Um, so yeah, and then it gets like like fucked up because then you don't like realize, you could say probably for Zionists that it's a safe assumption, but there's a lot of I was in jail and everything, and man, there's a lot of like down man just low vibrating downward punching shit. We just say and it just like gets people riled up, and it's like yeah, you have the right to protect your family and everything, but there's a good chunk of people that are into that weird stuff, so maybe you just like let them do their thing too, and then your family does your thing and their family does their thing, and yes, it would leave awkward situations, but it's a lot better than having everyone blackmailed and about to blow up the fucking planet or plane of existence of that you guys live. So I was thinking that, because just recognizing the angels and demons and everything, and then you could be like, oh, there is a place, where they could go. Yeah, not our children, not here in America, but go to Israel's hell and do that there, and there, because they do that there anyway. If you think differently, you're just fuck fool. Or you're like one of them in disguise, because they're like, oh no, we would never do that. And it's like, man, fucking, you only lie so many times before fucking people don't believe you no more. Only play that like wolf or in boys' clothing crying wolf, so many times before people are like fuck this. And yeah, we are all like little gods and shit. So you could say like technically they're like God. So they're like the worst attributes of God. So is what you're essentially saying. And then why would you let that win out? Just fucking yeah. And no, I don't want to participate into like torturing other people's like the Alba stars and shit. They're like, you can make your sexual abuse your whole fucking life, Chris. And it's like, no, no, I'd rather not. Thank you very much. I'm gonna fucking move on. It's nice that I've been able to recognize and heal. Cause I never knew I had such sexual abuse problems until my fucking 40s. So anyway, and they've been very like roofing less me and shit. And then I think like my family even tried like hooking me up with like little girls when I'm a little boy. And then I still had that trauma fucking thing. I'm like really hard to fucking have sex with. Those that have had sex with me is like the more that I think about it now, it's like actually that is very impressive and amazing that people were able to get that much out of me, even like bringing me to like a low like homeless vibration and shit, and like torturing me and everything, and just like it was about a dozen and a half people. It's not that many under my belt there. I'm really hard to get. When I usually get in near a sexual encounter, I get that like horrible anxiety. Like it's a very similar feeling to like I'm about to get my blood drawn, which is like I fucking hate because apparently people used to suck my blood as a child and scare the shit out of me. And that's another thing I don't remember, but I'm able to piece it together through my trauma responses, my absolute hatred of getting my blood drawn. And I'd love to donate and everything, but it just freaks me out too much. And it could be some divine shit too, but also the fucking trauma responses as well. Because I'm in this fleshy meat sack like everyone else. So so yeah, meow, meow, meow. You're in the video. Yeah, so yeah, and then I don't want to participate into that hell manifesting that you guys like do that you don't think that you're doing, but you're doing it, and you're doing it collectively, and then you're collectively looking around and you're like, this is a bunch of shit, and it's like, yeah, I know, right? I wonder why, because you like Iraqing a whole bunch of people. I saw, like there was a guy that like chased someone out of a store and everything, and like good for him, I guess. He was gonna feel someone up, so then someone felt him up, and that felt pretty even. Steven. But then there comes a point where if you get too aggressive about it, and then you start becoming the fucking problem. And there was like a day where I was on the bus and shit, and there was somebody urinating at the bus stop. And the bus driver like tapped his horn. There was a guy on the bus that was like, "Oh my fucking god, oh my god, that was fucking disgusting." And it's like, look, I get it with the homeless people because there are like no places for them to pee, like no like public spaces, because they do that by design. Like your leaders and shit put all those drugs in the fucking street, especially fentanyl and just any low vibrating drug and everything. They put it out there intentionally. So then you got all these, and they give it out for free and shit. And yeah, they sell it too, but they when they really want someone using, they hook them up like, oh yeah, here's some free stuff. So and they want people occupying the bathrooms if there are any. So then it becomes a problem. So then you gotta get rid of them because they like corrupting systems and shit. Is what the demons like to do. So yeah. Anyway, so this one dude though that like made the original comment, he kept on going on and 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 on. With the fucking, and it's like, dude, like now you're the fucking problem. Like what the fuck? You had your fucking 2 cents and you fucking like, dude, like I don't know where you want homeless people to go. It's not every homeless person's fault. I'm sure it is some select few where they do those things, where like to cover up their little wildfire, laser weapons and shit. They hire some arsonists to fucking, that they're going to bust. They're going to throw them under the bus or a percentage of them. They're like, look, we'll throw like a third of you under the bus. And then like 2/3 could get off, and then it's like a weird fucked up lottery that they may not even know that they're participating in, because that's how they always do it though. They always betray is the one trait. So you could expect that at some point, and people don't, other demons don't even like that shit though too. So I'm not saying all demons do that betraying stuff, but a certain sect of the most vile ones do around here, So, and then people don't like being betrayed, or demons or angels. Like no one likes being betrayed. You got to be like, erring greatly if you enjoy being betrayed. So so yeah. I was going to check out this sexual anxiety thing. Maybe I need it, maybe I don't, because, I'm thinking more so I probably don't, but I might as well check it out. What the fuck? Get out of the house, do something. Uh, so yeah. I just think, yeah, the more I think about it now, it's like, they tried hooking me up all my life, and I've had that like really, really extreme trauma response when it comes to sexual activity. So I feel like other people have known this better than I have for most of my life, and I'm just figuring it out now. Although I'm trying to participate sexually, because only like recently, earlier this year, did someone even bring up like sex magic to me, and I'm like, oh wow, that is an interesting concept. Let me think about this some, and it sounds interesting, and I'd like to participate, but it's really hard for me. So, and that's why I'd be making comments like, I fucking show up to the orgy and just touch myself and fucking go. Because that's what I'm comfortable with, right? So, duh. you know? Yeah. Yeah, and, yeah, I think the CIA got captured. They're like, let's play around with this dark magic, and they're like, oh, it's possessed us. Mm-hmm. Probably, you know. Anyway, they have the good ones there to make to run cover for the bad ones, though. The FBI going around with the CIA with all their child porn collection and showing it to your children, but getting, the military families to do that, the one compliant ones, and not going to ask questions. They're like, look, we got to target this one up the road. You're going to have your son, and we're going to fucking roofie rape them and then roofie possess them. And don't worry, it's only going to be like a little bit. So, and it's like, what the fuck? And that's what they do with this shit, that like, so, you know, uh, it's really a racket, and that's why I woke up. I mentioned in some earlier videos, I woke up a couple times in my 20s with some substance on my penis, even though I didn't do anything the night before, or nothing weird. So why was that there? Did people like roofie, rub your shit all over me, and take some blackmail photos because you couldn't quite get me, but you had to like make it up anyway. Maybe they could get their AI to like make it look like I'm awake instead of like all passed out and shit. You know, but that's what they do. And then it's like, well, what the fucking point is your fucking shit? It's just safer to just not even have you. Your organization, whatever three-letter it is. You know. No matter what deals, treaties you have with your little Arthur Slugsworth alien reptilians. So yeah, and yeah, there's like really bad technology and everything that's in the hands of the fun ones fucking, causing all the problems, making all the earthquakes, creating the flooding, inventing this global warming, starting all these fires all at once. And just a bunch of shit. Just a bunch of shit. It looks like, throw up on a pile of shit. You know? So anyway, I was saying, I wasn't going to participate in the Albastar's fucking shenanigans either. Like, well, join us and use your sexual abuse for, torturing others that you don't know shit about, and you could play the hot potato game too and manifest hell with us, Chris, and it's like, no, I don't, no, I'd rather not, thanks. Thanks, I'm a super duper manifester, I don't want to do that. That's why, I be doing what I'm doing lately. I can't even get my book done. I get other stuff done. It's nice. I could have good feeling orgasms for once. It's like sitting around the house masturbating is less destructive than all the shit we're doing. Yeah. you know, and I'd be watching a lot of those survival, or I mean, not really survival. Well, I mean, kind of, sort of, but it's like person goes out into the wilderness and makes a fort, and it's like, oh, that looks like so much fun, and be able to unplug and everything. Now, no, my goofy ass, I'll probably like get like a solar panel so I could like charge some stuff because I like music and shit. So, but I mean, I could do out in nature too, and I'm not super good at composing music, but I got a little flute that I could do stuff with. Anyway, yeah, it just sounds like so much more fun. It's like, man, I don't want to like participate in some banker bullshit, some Zionist bullshit, and I want to fucking get, you know, uh, brought in by the people like abusing others but using child protection to do it, and it's like, man, that sounds like what the fucking like government does a whole lot. And I don't want to like the bad parts of government. Yeah, it's like, man, sexual abuse is like 80% or more in child protective services, and people would be like, "You're the fucking failure, Chris," and it's like, I'm the failure. I'm like looking around and I see all this fucking shit, there's and I'm the failure, like whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on a second, and they attacked me pretty good, like my education, train me to, the MK Ultra would like make you stupid. Um, and yeah, so I could pretty much speak just like one language or like two languages, English and bad English, right? I said fuck the other, around a child today, and I didn't mean to. And it's just like I'm pretty casual with my language, but that language actually breaks the fucking spells, and they don't like that. So there's like some people that are like, whatever, and there's definitely worse things out there, Chris. I know, right? I'm seeing fucking children having their like limbs blown off and everything for like the past 2 years. It's by the fucking demons like betraying everyone else. They're like, look, you just wait your turn to be betrayed, everyone. All right, you just wait there, Turkey. You just wait there, Egypt. All right. Look, we got this hocus pocus bullshit. All right, and we got the backings of some space aliens and shit. But they really are acting like Arthur Slugsworth and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we should keep listening to them. Like, like just oh my god, it's so. I don't know, man. Who speaks for Earth? Y'all is speaking for Earth. But I'm glad there's like protests. I hope more shit is shut down, because they captured the Samud flotilla, and it was like really stupid. Anyway, yeah, tricking a bunch of Christians into blowing up like Jesus's people and shit and funding it, and I'm some sort of failure. Did you looked at yourselves in the fucking mirror? What the fucking fuck?